because you guys were very outstanding among the people.
Yeah, you have to say that we are quite tall. Like I'm quite
Mhm.
tall, so
Not
it's
quite tall,
probably
actually very tall. From my
okay. I'm really tall, so um, it's probably just different. So
So, hi Annie. Good to see you again.
hi, good
Hey,
to see you.
yeah. Welcome to the podcast and thank you for being
Yay!
here.
Thank you for inviting me. That's so
Yeah.
great to be here.
I'm so happy to hear that. For the listeners, could you please introduce yourself a little bit?
Yes. Hi, I'm Annie. I'm from Germany, and I'm really curious about different cultures, especially Korean culture and values. I'm interested in how people connect emotionally. I'm excited to talk about Jung, whether it might also exist in Germany. So I'm really glad to be here and talk about this topic.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing the today's main topic. Before we have some small talk, yeah. Before we dive
Sorry.
into yeah, no, it's fine. Before we dive into our main topic for today, I have some question for you. How's your life these days? Are you very in a busy moment, or are you just
Mm,
enjoy your relaxing?
I guess life is good at the moment. Of course, it's always a little bit busy, but it's good. Just like doing everyday life and working and trying to enjoy the small things, and just being
Mm,
happy.
okay, sounds great. How's your recent interesting about Korea? Are you listening to
Uh,
Korea song or are you watching some K drama or K movie?
yeah, lately I've been listening to Korean music and watching some YouTubes and Korean dramas, and following the news, of course. It's just interesting to see how things are compared to our side, um,
Mhm.
or how similar they can be. So it's kind of nice watching the news.
Okay, sounds great. All right, let's talk about today's our main topic. Yeah, you already spilled the tea. Today's topic
Or-
is about Korean Jung, but what I want to say regarding that one, I think German people also has this Jung, maybe more than Korean, because I've been felt that one when I meet you and your friends. So maybe, yeah, but not maybe, believe it or not, I think German people has really great emotional connection with people. So I just wanted to tell about it. But for the listeners who doesn't know about Korean Jung, I just wanted to explain a little bit. The Jung is a uniquely Korean sense of deep emotional connection, warmth, and affection between people. So when Korean people wants to, in particular, promoting themselves, we just to say like we have a tongue, something like that. Hmm.
It's really great to me.
Yeah. How did you first know about tongue, by the way?
Mm, I actually think that we talked about it first. So, like some time ago that we talked about it. I didn't know about Chung, to be honest, before, but it's actually a really nice concept and I really like it.
Okay. And did you notice that my family name is Chung?
Yeah, I did. I did. I did.
But it is the different Chinese character, so it is not the same meaning. My family name is just the family name Zhang. But Zhang means like, as I said, the emotional connection in Chinese character. So it is totally different. And anyway, so all right. For the Korean people, I think it is the universal thing. I mean, the most of country people just consider most of German people is not the very friendly and no humor, no sensitivity, and very strict. So everybody just have this kind of stereotype, I do believe. I first thought about German people definitely has that kind of things, but time after time I've met German peoples and I feel like they have really strong emotional connection with people. So that's the reason why I insist at this point German people has more Jung than the other country people. How do you think about it? Is it true, by the way, about the stereotype?
Yeah, I think we can be like really reserved sometimes and like
Mm-hmm.
being really direct. So for other people, it could be that they think that we are not that warm or that open to other people. But actually, we just like to, yeah, set the record straight and say like things directly, so there's no like double meaning
Mm-hmm.
maybe behind it. So, but yeah, I think Germans actually have a lot of tongue. So yeah,
Okay.
if they want to. So
Okay. All right. So to prove my insist at this point, I wanted to share you a couple of stories. As far as I know, you have some Korean friends, and when they find their job and when they want to work in Germany, you just share your room free, and also try to find a really good job. And also, you supported someone who wants to live there, wants to settle there. You just consider someone who worked there just like a always friend and try to solve their issue whatever they have. So is it very common for German people or it is just only for you your story?
I don't know if it's common, but for me it was like it was just a normal thing to do. Like they needed help, so I'm just shared. Like I have a room that can be used as a bedroom, so
Hmm.
I just shared it because it was like a normal thing for me to be honest.
Wow, you just consider it normal thing for your life. So interesting.
Yeah, like
Hmm.
they needed help. They needed help. They needed a place to stay to like find like get their first steps done in Germany. So why not? We knew each other and they are friends, so why not?
Hmm. Okay. The Annie, I just heard that from some article. I don't know it is true or not, but when people who lives in Germany, especially in a like the rural area, some people who is just working around the neighbor, and every neighbor is monitoring where someone is going. Is it true? The people is just the watching each other and monitoring each other, and they know every things about the people is going around.
Yeah, that's like Germans are really, really nosy. Like they they know a lot about you. Sometimes they even know more about you than
Mhm.
you actually know yourself. So it's
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's they Germans are really nosy, but yeah, it's not always a bad thing, I guess.
Okay. Sounds good. Because the experience is totally opposite when I live in the city. Everybody's very busy and they just consider their life always first. But in here in Korea, actually, now I'm living in a suburb, but actually I don't know who is living next to my door. So I've lived in the apartment since 2021, 22, but I don't know who is living next to my door. So it is crazy.
Really? I have a good like relationship with my neighbors. I know
Hmm.
the neighbors in my house. I sometimes even go for down for a coffee or like a chat or something. And I know a lot of people like that are living around my
Mm,
house, like in different
yeah.
houses next to mine. So for us, it's kind of normal, like to greet and to chat a little bit. And yeah, that's for us. It's pretty normal. It's kind of weird that um you don't know who's your neighbor.
Yeah, it's true actually. What I wanted to say just before was that I have some experiences. Actually, sometimes in an elevator, we just met some random neighbors, but we never say hello. Yeah. And we just,
Why?
mhm. I don't know.
Why?
We I don't know. We are shy or we just ignore. We just feel like it is the one of our the rule that we have to be very silent inside the public area. Even the elevator in an apartment is not a public place, but I don't know. We just ignore each other. Yeah. So there's the really different thing comparison to your culture. It's an unbelievable situation just to go down and just to have a coffee with your neighbor. But it depends actually. Now I'm living in a suburb near to this hole, and here everybody's so busy, so they don't care the other people's life, I think. So maybe that's the main reason we just only focus on ourselves.
Yeah, but oh, hello. It doesn't hurt, you know? Like just being nice and like acknowledging that there's someone else. I think that's actually pretty nice to like I would feel rude if I wouldn't greet someone. So
Mhm,
if I would go to an elevator and like would like do a nod or just say hello or something, that
mhm, mhm.
would be probably normal for me.
Yeah, so it is the different culture, I think. Yeah, we go back to the your stories. I want to know more about that because I heard that your story and it was so interesting because as I said, you're a Korean friend. We wanted to work and settle in Germany. So you found her job near your neighbor. As far as I remember, she they got her the job opportunity at her flower shop.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. The flower shop is next to my house. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I was really like um in good relationship with the flower shop lady. So
Mm-hmm.
I just asked if she has a job opening because I thought it's like good to get used to how Germans are in their daily life and
Mm-hmm.
to practice German, like because she had to speak with people and speak with the flower shop lady. So I thought
Mm-hmm.
it's a nice opportunity for her. So that's why I just asked, and it happened. So everything turned out well.
Yeah. So the party is unbelievable for me actually. In Korea, even though I have a really good relationship with my neighbor, I don't think I can do it like that because I don't want to get some rejection and turning down from the neighbor. And maybe later, maybe uh, our relationship will be very awkward in case my friend made something wrong. So we just think like more forward. So we may hesitate to suggest this kind of request. But it depends on the people. But in my case, I might do that.
So I think for me it was like, why not asking? You know,
Hmm.
since Germans are really direct, it's like you can't get more than a no.
Hmm.
There's nothing more happening than he says no. So why not asking? If she tells me no, that's absolutely fine for me. But
Hmm.
I knew that she needed help and I knew my friend. So, and she was really hardworking. She wanted to work.
Hmm.
So it wasn't like for a long-term thing, but I thought it would help both of them. Like it
Hmm.
would be it would be a like co-working thing. So she needed help in the store and she wanted to work and like get used to German work culture or
Mm.
German people. So why not? And it worked out for like a couple of weeks or months, I guess. So I just tried and it worked. So
Okay. All right. So your second story, you supported actually my the wife is younger brother in law. He settled there and he actually had some issue about his working visa. But you tries to figure it out and also fight it against the bad owner. So not directly, but you
yeah,
supported yeah, my brother-in-law a lot there. So we were very touched about that. So
yeah.
how did you do that?
I guess like if I would like kind of if I would live in Korea, I don't know how everything works, like how the legal stuff works and how the contract stuff works. So for me, it was like a normal thing to like mm, help him out because I probably know more about the laws of working. So for me, it was like, and I was really mad at the his boss because he treated him so badly, and I
Mm-hmm.
just wanted to help him out because I can imagine that being stuck in a different country on the other side of the world and being faced with something like that is really hard, not just in the current situation but emotionally also. So I just wanted to help out because it was in my I was able to help, so I just did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as I said, it touched a lot. I mean, it was really making my family touched. So we really appreciate about your support. And
He he's a
actually,
great guy. He's a great friend.
thank you
He's
so
a
much.
great guy. So
All right. Okay, and also I know some story about you prepared for the Korean visitor in your company.
yeah.
You guys tried to really best to warmly welcome them, but I heard that you didn't meet them, right?
No,
Is
I
it
didn't
true?
meet them.
No?
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't meet them. Sadly, but it was not my position to meet them. So,
Mm,
but I tried my best to um let them feel welcome to to Germany and to our company. So
yeah. So I was so surprised you asked me to give some list of from saying hello to saying some the Korean expressions to communicate with them. So, and you practiced a lot, I think. So,
yeah, I even shared the list. It was not just vocabulary, like normal
hmm
hello or goodbye or stuff like that. I also prepared like how to behave around them to be polite or be seen as polite.
hmm
So I wrote that down and yeah, I shared that with my boss and their
hmm
bosses. And yeah, I guess it worked out.
it worked out. Okay. At least you didn't meet the Korean visitor in your company. You just shared your information about Korean things to your manager. And yeah, as you said, it worked out and it sounds really great. You made it.
Yeah, it's like if you, I think it's just important to acknowledge someone else's culture.
hmm
And if
hmm
you want to do like business with them or get to know them in
hmm
whatever way, I think it's important to respect that and to um, go the extra step to make them feel welcomed and like
hmm
feel appreciated somehow.
Okay.
So because we have really different cultures, so I thought like they didn't have to do everything, but like just remembering how to take the card, like the
Mhm,
business card, that would be
mhm,
just a nice thing that they feel, oh, they did something, they did their research and they really like to work with us. So yeah.
mhm. So is most of German people like you and Nina maybe? Or you guys are special?
I don't know. I think we have a lot of great people here. So it probably will not be always like this, but if you meet the right people, they can really be really helpful and great
Mm,
as friends.
okay. How sweet German people are based on those stories. Okay. Yeah. I want to touch one more story. When you traveled in Korea, I heard that you returned the missing money to police office, right?
Yeah, we did. We
Why
did.
did you do that?
Because in Germany, there
Uh-huh.
was we wanted to pick up some money at the bank, and there was laying money on top of the machine. So in
Mhm.
Germany, it would be gone like in seconds. So
Mhm.
and it was, I think for myself, I would say it was a lot of money. So and thinking about myself, how I would feel, like you can always be like a little bit out of your mind and like forgetting things. So I thought about myself, how would I feel when I lost this kind of money? So we thought like collecting it and giving it back to the bank, which was
Mhm.
bad because it was closed because of public holiday.
Mhm.
So yeah, we actually called you to what we should do. And yeah, we ended up at the police station and giving it back. It was a wild story, to be honest. I will never pick up money again in
Mhm.
Korea,
Yeah, it
but in the end it was really funny, and we can laugh about that memory now, but I was really stressed in that situation.
the returning process is not that easy here. So, and also you were a traveler, so you actually didn't do that. It was not your responsibility, but you just did it. So this is so, yeah, heartwarming situation for Korean.
It was like the normal thing to do, like I said, for me it was when I think about losing that kind amount of money,
Mhm.
I would be sad too. So maybe they really needed it and they were
Mhm.
just busy with other things on their mind. And so I would love it if it got returned to me. So why
Mhm.
not do that for the other person too?
Mhm. Okay. Those are so interesting story to me actually from the Korean's perspective. It made me feel like you and German people has really great deep emotional connection with people. So maybe that's the reason
Yeah.
why, yeah, I think that German people could have more Jung than the other country people. So it is totally, breaking the stereotype what I had, what I learned about Germany from school was what I explained it about Germany. So it was totally different. So it made me really break the stereotype. So it was really the fantastic experience for me. Yeah, great.
Right. Great to hear it, but I don't think like everyone is like this. It's the
Hmm.
same in every country, I guess. But
Hmm.
like we have some good people, yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. You have really great people a lot there. So let's just switch the gear. I know you've been traveled in Korea 4 years in row. This is also very interesting story. How did you do that, by the way? What brought you and your friends to Korea in a
Mm.
low 5 years?
Yeah, I think it started pretty casually, like through pop
Mm-hmm.
culture, music, shows, and over time I got curious about more about Korea,
Mm-hmm.
um, about the culture, about everyday life, and that's where we started to like do our research and wanted to travel to Korea.
Okay. So I'm curious, what was your first interest when you made a decision to travel in Korea? What was the first thing you noticed about Korea? I'm just curious.
The first thing I noticed about Korea, the good food,
Good
the good
food,
food,
okay.
the good
Mhm,
food, and how polite and kind everybody was, and like how
mhm,
respectful, and how much Koreans pay attention to aesthetic.
uh-huh,
That was that was probably the first things I noticed. And of course, how they treat modern and cultural things.
mhm,
Um, that was that's really nice to see. It's like everything going so fast and um but still cherishing and valuing the historical part. That's
mhm,
really great to see.
okay. Annie, by the way, what did you learn about Korea from your school? What was the first thing you learned about Korea? I just assumed that
Actually,
you learned about North and South Korea, the relationship, the war. Maybe no. What was it?
to be honest, and I had it in geography class that
Mhm.
like this is South Korea, this is North Korea, but that's kind of it that we heard.
Okay. That's all what
I'm
we
sorry.
heard about. Okay. But now you are expert of Korea.
I wouldn't say expert, but interested, I would say.
Interested. Okay. All right. So as I said, you've been traveled in Korea in a row for 4 years. So what was the most interesting thing about Korea when you traveled here?
Mm, I think nowadays why we come back every year is that we really made a lot of memories and
Mm-hmm.
connections that are really valuable for us. And we are still curious about the country itself.
Mm-hmm.
We are really able to build really precious friendships, like with you and your family and other really amazing people. And becoming a German auntie to your kids is also plays also a big role.
Okay.
So also, I feel like I haven't seen enough of the country. Korea
Mm-hmm.
offers so many different things. Like every city you visit, it's different, a kind of different, of course. But I think, yeah, I haven't seen enough of the country. And since I'm always traveling with my best friend, it
Mm-hmm.
became extra special to us. It's our time of the year to like slow down and spend quality time together, have long conversations, and like make new memories
Mm-hmm.
with the country and our friends. And yeah, I think that it sums it up really well.
Yeah, but it depends on people. But most people prefer to travel the different country to feel the different feeling and culture, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It was actually our plan to like visit Korea once and then go to another country.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow, yeah, Korea stayed in our heart, and it's like really about the people and the connections that always brings us back because
Mm-hmm.
we are just able to see you once a year. So yeah, it's kind of like coming back and like visiting you guys
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, just enjoy the country and learn more.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, it
it
sounds
just
like you visiting in your hometown annual base.
yeah, maybe it's like coming back to your second home. That's true. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about your travel experience and fun story. Before we dive into that, what was your first stereotype of you traveling Korea?
Oh, my first stereotype. I honestly didn't have like six stereotypes when I came to
Mm-hmm.
Korea first.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you hear the common ones like that Koreans are really hardworking, that there's a big hierarchy
Mm-hmm.
system, and yeah, that they're very focused on beauty and aesthetics. And of course, like the big K-pop K-drama blow up that happened, of course, it's you heard about it. But some parts, I guess, are true. But from my own experience, I would say often it felt quite different and more nuanced to just the stereotypes.
Hmm. Okay. Then, when you traveled in Korea, what made you very surprised?
Mm, I think what really surprised me and what changed my image about Korea was how caring the people were. So they were always like, we made so many great encounters with different people, like
Hmm.
strangers on the street, that were willing to go out of their way to help us or share
Uh,
food with us or just spend time talking with us about really
mm,
different things. And we had great talks. We met great people of every age and gender. So that was really great. And what really surprised me, to be honest, was how genuinely interested people were in Germany or in
mhm.
foreigners in general. I don't know, but it was really fun to watch, like how many questions people had about Germany, and you're like, is it really
What?
that great?
Yeah. So Germany is like the one of ideal country here in Korea. Everybody, wants to mimic the cultural things and your country's the growth, something like that. So I don't know. We just respect of your country, like the many the different aspect. So that's the reason why we have many questions. And also we
Yeah,
have
it,
a similar historical situation back then. That Germany was uh, divided into the two different countries, right? The west and east side.
yeah, that's
So
true.
we are always dreaming one day we also break the wall like Germany, and we're gonna be unified with North Korea. But I don't know what will happen. But we always we will learn a lot about the German's history and historical the decision. So it was really the Nazarene with the many the Korean people. So that's the reason why the Germany is very familiar with people, and also a couple of the soccer players that played there, and
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah, so the Germany is very famous about the sports as well. So
Yeah, I think we have a lot to offer.
mhm.
Um, in general. Um, so I can understand it somehow, but like hearing people talk like so good about Germany make me a lot of like rethinking about my own view on Germany. So
Okay.
yeah, it felt different to hear such a like, "Oh my gosh, Germany is so great," and I was like, uh, I don't know about that, but yeah, it really made me rethink my own thoughts
Yeah.
about Germany.
Just to come up with the expression, the grass is always greener on the other side, right? So we just
That's true.
always, yeah, we always think the other people's things like what we don't have actually. So, mhm, yeah, right. How about your most uncomfortable situation in Korea? I mean, I've heard that a couple of things from you. What made you really surprised? Like the random Korean people is staring at you in a public area, and yeah, maybe this
Yeah,
kind of things because you guys were very outstanding among the people.
yeah. You have to say that we are quite tall. Like I'm quite
Hmm.
tall, so
Not
it's
quite tall,
probably
actually, very tall. From my
okay. I'm really tall, so um,
yeah.
it's probably just different. And yeah, it was like we made some encounters which were kind of surprising. for what we know from Koreans. For
Mhm.
like, do you remember the taxi drive I told you about on Jeju?
Ah,
That was
okay.
like getting screamed on or screamed at from a taxi driver. That was
Ah,
wild. That was wild. That was really but I think that the issue was kind of the language barrier. Um, but it was at this point I was just sitting there with like, okay, why do I get screamed at? I was polite. I didn't do anything wrong.
mhm.
So what's up? But it worked out fine, and so everything is good.
Okay. Alright. What was the most convenient and inconvenient things when you traveled in Korea?
Um, Everything feels kind of like being in the future when you come to Korea compared to Germany.
Mhm,
Everything is going so fast and so super efficient, and it feels like everything is really well organized.
mhm.
Um, but on the other hand, for me personally, the language barrier is really challenging for me. I try to focus more on studying Korean, but it's different when you are in Korea.
Mhm.
Um, and studying is not always easy for me since my Korean teachers, my precious Korean teachers, always keep leaving me.
Who is him?
I don't know who we're talking about.
Okay. And yeah, I remember that you pointed out the kiosk is really crazy. I mean, in a good way. It's like the very future orienting device. But as you explained it, actually in Korea, the most of the people sometimes feel like we cannot follow the new technology. Even though the kiosk is very efficient and it is really necessary for everybody because it made everything very quick, right? We don't need to in a queue and we don't need to wait for the order. Everything is the digital and we just pay by our credit card or our smartphone. But on the other hand, some people who actually can't follow the technology, they are just behind and always ignored by the people. For example, my parents, my mom and my father, if they want to make some order in front of the kiosk, they sometimes delayed to make the order one by one. And behind the people, they are just asking, why don't I do first? And my parents are very embarrassed at the situation and they just quit using the device all the time. So it happens here and there these days. So yeah, technology is not always good for people. I just feel it.
It's not, and I think it yeah, we lose a lot of like connection with people. Like you
Mm,
don't have to talk to people anymore. Everything is like fast and being not like about if you order with a person, like you have a little talk, you can ask questions or like kind of build a small relationship
mhm.
with them. So everything like that gets lost on the way, and we don't include our elders. So I think it technology itself is really good, but it also we have to kind of reconsider how we not lose the human connection over it.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I want to tell you one thing about it. This is so interesting story to me because I talked about my father generation. As you
Mm,
know, the economic growth was super fast. Within 50 years, we made everything very success, and now the Korea is really good country, I think. we we've upgrading our culture and our life these days, and also the most of the other outside country recognize about Korea, right? So
Yeah,
we are
definitely.
so yeah, so we are so proud of my parents' generation. So when I think about their life, especially my father, he was born in very countryside and he supported the farming with my, the grandmother and grandfather. And then they just moved to the Seoul, like the city, and just studied like the manufacturing things. So it was like the second industrial revolution. And back then, like the 19th and 2000, it was like the very digital things. So the industry was changed from analog to digital. And now we are living in AI. So
Yeah.
they they've experienced that industrial revolution 4 times from agricultural things to the AI. So nowadays, my father-in-law, he used his own YouTube channel. So it made me really surprised what happened about him. It's a
Yeah,
crazy
but
one.
that's true, but I think it's really cool. And when he showed it to us, it was really cool, and we all followed like immediately. I think it's why not? Like
Yeah.
have fun and experience how it is. I think it's a really cool thing.
Yeah, we are really proud of him, and also he actually encouraged me to start my podcast because he's doing everything, even though he's older than me, but he's always doing his best and try to follow the new things all the time. So yeah,
He did a good
very
job
good.
encouraging you. I think it's a
Right?
great idea with the podcast. It's really great.
Yeah, maybe later we're gonna invite him and then talk about many things. Annie,
Yeah, why not?
how about German elder people? Do you think they are also very good at using the new technology like the Korea's old people? How do you think about it?
Um, since we don't have that much technology like you have in our day-to-day basis,
Hmm.
um, it's not like that bad, but I can I saw how my grandparents struggled with like even a phone, like
Mm.
having a mobile phone in their hand and like how do I do this? How do I do that? And how many times they like pressed buttons they shouldn't have pressed or something. And like even with my parents sometimes that the super new stuff like AI or whatever is like not that easy for them.
Hmm. Hmm.
But like if I think if we help them out, we can do that. But like for people who don't have someone to support them, it's really hard to
Yeah,
get used to the new life.
exactly. My mom also always called me when he wanted to make some order by using the kiosk at cafe. So I'm used to it. Yeah. It's a it's a very common everywhere. Okay. So when you traveled in Korea, I think you felt like the Korean doesn't have any diversity. I mean, we are very homogeneous ethnic, and we don't have many different skin colors here. So how was it? I mean, what made you think about it? And also, I'm curious how diverse is in Germany. How diverse is in your society as well?
Like um compared to us,
Yeah.
Korea is like not diverse at all. Like we have it's it's a whole different level. We
Mhm.
have we have so many different ethnicities here and so many different people. That's sometimes sometimes it's really really nice because you have so much stuff brought from different cultures and you
Mhm.
can
Mhm.
you can learn so much and enjoy so much um like especially about food. So that's really nice. But it also brings some sometimes. some issues with it. So it's not really like perfect, but it's
Mhm.
also not bad. Like if they integrate well, they are a real asset to us. Um, but we also have like German people that don't fit in to say
Mhm.
kind of.
Mhm.
Yeah, but like traveling to Korea was it's not that bad because you have a lot of visitors and like people working from all over the world.
Mhm.
But like when you go outside of the big cities, it's like yeah, kind of no diversity at all, and
Yeah.
that was really strange.
Right. Korean, Korean, Korean everywhere.
That's true.
So, how many different nationality people you are working together at a company?
Oh, jeez. Uh, just in my department, we have, and we are just 8 people, I guess.
Really?
Yeah, we already have like just a small circle. We already have one, two, three, yeah, three different ethnicities, I guess.
Okay.
Like, and if you open up to the bigger team, we have five, six, yeah, kind of six. So, but we
Mm,
have a lot more like on the shop floor and stuff like that, or in other departments, we have a lot of diversity when it comes
okay.
to that.
Is it very common for every German company, or your company is so special regarding the country people working together?
No, I think that's pretty normal to be honest.
Mhm.
It depends on okay, in my area it's like a really dense population. So of
Mhm.
course we have a lot of different people here, but it's normal here and I think it's normal everywhere to like have so much diversity in the work culture or in the companies.
Mhm. Okay. Wow, so interesting. We're just working with Korean only. No diversity here. Yes. Okay. So, uh, okay. So we talked about the diversity things, and I just want to get your insights from your perspective. What is the one thing Korea could learn from your culture and vice versa?
Ooh. Um, I think what we could learn from Korea is the technology process,
Mhm. Mhm.
the or the progress, the efficiency, of course, and what's really special to me is the everyday respect, the structure, and especially the safety. Like the respect and the safety is for me the biggest thing what we could
Mhm.
learn from Korean, and what Korea could learn from us. Probably being more direct and clear,
Mm.
like in
Mhm.
communication, like
Mhm.
especially when it comes to expressing needs or like setting boundaries or like in everyday talk. Like if I ask you something and you don't want it, then just say no, you know, like
Mhm.
not going over your boundaries just to please me or like, you know, because it's just a question so, but I think you should Koreans also should probably rethink their work culture a little bit.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
you're really working a lot and like really hard and with all these work activities that go even further than not just in your work time, um, I think it would be good to rethink that kind of because like you have really, really small free time. So
Yeah.
yeah. And I think um, how friendships are built and maintained
Mhm.
across different ages and genders. That's
Mhm.
something you could Koreans could also um, yeah, take notes of, I guess,
Yeah,
somehow.
okay. Yeah, you spoke a lot, so I'm just organized what things I'm gonna ask you first. So we're gonna go first the last thing, uh, friendship. So I mean, most of Korean people is very hierarchy, as you pointed out, the different gender, different age, and different hierarchy. It's a very tricky to make a really good relationship. So let me tell you one story about me. When I first went to the college, I met one friend. He was so nice to me all the time. So, but I just consider he is my older brother because he was older than me around 2 years. But the 1 year is so big here, actually. So even even though someone is older than me, just 1 year, I have to call 형 or 누나 like the respect way. So I consider him like you're my 형, you're my older brother. So I always use the polite word and the honorific expressions to him. But one day he said like I'm your friend. You don't need to do that. And then I was so embarrassed. So that's the thing in Korea actually. We are stuck in like the hierarchical relationship. So that's the main reason is the a little tricky to make it a true relationship in case we have like the level of age and gender.
Yeah,
So I just wanted to point out. But I think these days the world is slowly broke. So maybe the many different gender and many different age gap, they really make it a deep relationship. But back then, it was a little hard actually.
yeah. It would be really good if Korea can rethink that process because you can make
Hmm.
really, really great friendships when you don't stay just in your box.
Yeah, right. That's
It
true.
would be it would be a big win if these kind of like boxes would go away.
Okay. Any and the other your advice about Korean, the way of communication. Most Korean, they are not that very straightforward. They don't say no, right? I felt like you're talking about me. But I think the
Maybe.
most of yeah, maybe. But I think the most of Korean is the same actually. I don't know why, but they just always try to be nice and always try to be very generous for people. So I think they just consider the opponent is the thinking and opinion. So we cannot easily say no all the time, but it made people really stressed, you know. Even though I want to say no, but I cannot say directly no to the people. But in my mind, actually, I know I should have said no, but I just keep it in my mind. But I just, the
Yeah, but
bit
why
around the
not?
bush. I
Yeah,
don't
but why
know.
not?
I don't
It's like
know.
it's like
We,
I'm just
hmm,
I'm just asking you a question and you say yes or no. So it's not bad if you say no. If it's good if you say yes, but it's fine, like and it always has to be kind of like being in your boundaries with what's
hmm,
okay with you. And like I feel like sometimes the people feel pushed to do stuff that they actually don't want to do, but they have to
hmm,
because
hmm,
like it's not really common to communicate that. And since they can't say no to things or not like directly say no, they have to
hmm.
do things that goes way over their boundaries just
Yeah.
just to fit in and be like seen as polite.
Yeah, right, right, Annie. In a person, I mean, it depends on the people all the time, right? Someone easily say no, and someone is easily cannot say no. But the majority of the Korean people, they cannot say no. I do believe, but it it is related to the society. I mean, we are with many people. I mean, we just don't think like we are working alone. Now I'm talking about the company culture. We just feel like now we are just one of the groups member. So we don't want to be like the outstanding. So the majority of people they want to do something, even though I don't want to do that, but I just follow. I don't want to make any trouble. So maybe that's the main reason the most of Korean people can say no in a group of things. Hmm.
Why is it trouble? Like, if you
I
don't
don't
want
know.
to go, it's not
We
trouble. It's like, no, I don't want to go to, I don't know, Starbucks right now. I want to go to Holly's or whatever,
Mhm.
because I like the coffee there better. I don't know. It's like, it's nothing bad about it. It's just you're saying just, okay, I pick my coffee up there and you pick your coffee up there, and then we just meet together and just drink the coffee together. There's
Yeah, right.
saying no is nothing, but I don't I understand that it's like can be hard,
Yeah, it's a tricky part actually as Korean. We just follow as a group all the time. We cannot be like the individual people. We are in a circle like the group, one of members. So that's the main reason. It's a very hard to say no in case the team go to the dinner party, like the after work. So for example, my boss asked me, "Do you have any plan after work?" It means like you have to go with me for dinner.
That is so crazy for me. Like, I don't know. It would be fine for me to like hang out with people sometimes off work or after
Hmm.
work. Um,
Hmm.
but like that I have to go with them.
Hmm.
Um, that would be that's so different here because you just go home after work and work at work and it's just done, you know? Like I finish my job daily and then I just go home and like if my boss would tell me like we're going to eating together and it would be like yeah, I don't think so.
Steer forward. Okay.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah,
say
because
no.
like it's my free time, it's I get paid and like we meet up for like Christmas parties or like hangouts in the summer or something like that. That's absolutely fine for me, but like going out on a weekly or a daily basis with my
Hmm.
coworkers and my boss in my free time, um, and I have stuff to do or people to meet or whatever, it's my free time. So maybe it's a German thing, but yeah, I don't know. Hanging out with my favorite coworkers to grab a beer or a drink or food afterwards would
It
be
would be good.
absolutely fine.
Hmm.
Yeah, but like to have to go to where to like drinking or like food, that's a different that's a different thing.
Yeah, that's a different story. Annie, I'm gonna tell you one funny things in Korea. What's going on here? We made the law. Actually, this is the new law not to send a message via KakaoTalk after work.
Oh,
Can you believe it?
okay. What?
Because the background is like that. So after work, the many boss and managers send the private message via KakaoTalk and they just make some orders like you have to do and you have to finish something by the due date, something like that. Even though they have their own the communication, the tools in company, but after work, they actually don't pay attention to getting the message right. So that's the reason they use the Kakao Talk. But people blamed about that. Why they are using Kakao Talk for the company way? So the government they listened to the people's complaint and they finally made it a new role and it means it is like not to send a message after work by using KakaoTalk. It's so fun story here.
Crazy that you have to make a law for them. Like,
Hmm.
the other thing is, will people follow? Like since you have like this big system of hierarchy, are people going to follow the law? Because like I don't know. That's really interesting to be honest. I'm kind of curious how that turns out if that like really works. That that would be really interesting if that works.
Actually, I don't know how do they monitor that and who's gonna make it issue. The law is
Yeah,
just a law. Maybe people just don't follow it. And it's just gone one day, right?
yeah, that's really interesting. That's
Yeah, interesting and funny, to be honest with you.
definitely.
Okay. Wow. I've heard a lot of things from you, your insight and your perspective of diversity in Germany. So I have to ask you your final thoughts. What is your life motto and what things you wanted to share with this podcast listeners?
Hello, I'm back.
Yeah, I just thought that you ran away. You don't want to share your life motto.
No, no, it's just they are doing some construction work at our house at the moment, and sometimes they just shut off the water or the internet
Oh
or
my God,
whatever.
really?
Yeah, so it's like
Now,
I'm
mhm.
actually quite happy that it just happened once. So I was kind of, is it
Yeah, and
going to
also
work?
our recording is almost over, so you don't need to worry about at all. Anyway, so let me bring it back. So let me ask you once again. What is your life motto that you want to share it with this podcast listeners?
I think my life motto would be kind. Stay curious to the world and don't take it so seriously. I think that's something
Mm-hmm.
I try to live by, and because the most important things happen like in between. It's the small things, and it's the small things
Mm-hmm.
that can spread so much happiness. And I think that's what I try to live by, or what I focus on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it's really great motto for you. Be nice.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. As I said, we've heard a bunch of things from you, and I really happy to invite you in this podcast. Thank you for your
thank
time,
you.
Annie.
Thank you for inviting
Yeah,
me.
I
It's
hope
really
you.
great.
Yeah, yeah, it was really great time for me as well. So thank you for your time once again, and I really hope you enjoy your day. Bye bye.
I hope you enjoyed too. Bye.